Did he say what?
Seersucker suit on a hot summer day. Coffee comes back in a nerve-wracking way. The dishes and laundry take the garbage out. What a day, what a day, what a day.
Well, welcome to Capital Region Today. I'm so happy that you're joining us today. We have a great lineup, and who doesn't love plants? We're going to be talking about plants and plant sale with the Landis Arboretum. We're going to be talking with Margaret Hall, and she's going to be talking about what's going on at Cap Rep. And if you haven't seen Three Mothers, get over there and see it. It's a wonderful production. The Albany Medical Center will be here today to talk about the excellence in Alzheimer's disease. So we hear a lot about that. We're going to find out more from them. Spina Bifida Association will be here as well, and we're going to be talking about their walk and roll, I believe it's called. And that's going to be at Central Park. We'll hear more about that. And then we're going to wrap up the show with a composer who's written the Amsterdam Oratorio, which was really quite fascinating. I listened to that yesterday. It was wonderful. So we're going to start right out today with Landis Arboretum. And we were just before the show talking about plants and things. You're having a big plant sale coming up.
We are, yep. It's going to be
2 days.
Yeah, 2 days. We do it annually in the spring and fall. It's always the weekend after Mother's Day in the spring. So you always know what weekend it is. This year it's going to be the 18th and 19th.
Now, do you have indoor and outdoor plants, or just basically plantings for your house?
Nope, we have indoor plants, we have outdoor plants, trees, shrubs, perennials, annuals, herbs, and we've really been doing a lot with, especially in the spring sale, your veggie starts.
Oh, yeah. We were just talking about that, getting those.
Exactly.
So when's a good time to get a vegetable garden in? I know, I think you mentioned Memorial Day. My mother used to say Mother's Day.
Between, and it's certainly weather dependent. You can sort of get a little bit earlier, but then you can have a late frost, and then you can do some damage. My dad always swore by Memorial Day. I know a lot of gardeners do jump it a little bit a week or so before,
me.
And that's fine. We've never lost a plant doing them at Memorial Day, but you know what? I think you're safe, starting at any time.
Well, with global warming,
mid to late May, and
with
you're
global
good.
warming, it might end up being, on Valentine's Day.
That's true. You never know exactly. We might be planting palm trees before we're done.
There. But you don't only have a plant sale. You have what? A bake sale and book sale. Tell me about that.
Correct. It's we like to say it's a plant, book, and bake sale.
Okay.
And we specialize in plants. We've been doing plant sales since the 50s. We get a lot of unusual things that you don't find in common garden centers. We get a lot of hardy plants. I can't tell you how many people over the years have said, boy, we got a lot of great stuff from you, and it's all doing really well. And we like to hear that.
But
we also
do you
have
start the plants? Do you start the plants?
We start a lot of them.
Okay.
We have a branded component of the plant sale called Landis Grown.
Okay.
So, and this year we're doing, we have hanging baskets, petunias, 3 different varieties, red, white, and blue we did this year.
Nice.
And baskets that are red, white, and blue, and then some that are a mix. And we're also doing a lot of Dawn redwoods. They're related to the giant redwoods out west, but they're native to China.
Wait a minute, a redwood tree?
That's correct. Yeah, Dawn redwoods in the genus Metasequoia, and they were thought to be extinct until the late 40s when they found another grove in China of these lost plants, and every one of them have come from plants that were seeds that were collected from that original grove, including the one that we have planted at Landis Arboretum. It was planted in 1951, and we got it from a seed source from the original China expedition from Arnold Arboretum.
Sequoias, as far as I know, are pretty big trees.
They
are a dwarf or what?
They're not dwarf. They get full size here. They do really well in the Northeast. They're a deciduous conifer, so they lose all of their needles in the fall, and so they're pretty much immune to any kind of deer browse. They never get any pests. They don't get any diseases.
Right, because everything's gone. Yeah.
Yeah, they were known around with fossil records. So we're talking about way back with dinosaurs.
Wow.
So they, very prehistoric. It's the second oldest tree species known in the world. Ginkgo being the oldest.
Ginkgo. Oh,
the
yeah, I love
Metasequoia.
those ginkgo leaves.
Exactly. Yep. And they're often called maidenhair fern or maidenhair trees because the leaves look like little maidenhair ferns.
Yeah.
Yep. So we have those that we've been growing at Landis and a bunch of other natives that we're growing as well. And you mentioned book sale and bake sale. The book sale is a used book sale. It occurs in our barn. I like to call it Barn and Noble. Pun intended
wait,
there.
wait, let me groan. I got to groan. Oh.
And but it's
I like it, though.
it's an incredible book sale. People, there are people that come to the plant sale for the books.
Yeah.
Because it's not just gardening books, but books of all kinds of topics. And a lot of people that donate to the cause of Landis Arboretum donate some incredible books that they're no longer using or
I'd
want to
love
see
to
get into good homes, so that can't possibly give these books away. They want to get someone to give it a good home and give it a new life, and our sale becomes a sort of a depository for that. And
Yeah,
we're really thankful
we
because
can't read
people have found
everything on a-
unbelievable amount of books in there.
You
And
can't
then
read everything on a.
you can't, that's for sure. And I still like to flip pages.
I do too.
I love just a classic book. So, and then we also do a bake sale, arguably one of the best bake sales around. But I'm of course biased a little bit there.
Do you
so.
do the baking?
I don't do the baking. My wife usually donates some, either her special chocolate chip cookies to the cause, usually every year.
Yeah.
But again, just like the people put a lot of heart and soul into what becomes Landis Arboretum, and you can not only see that in our plantings, you can taste that in our baked goods.
Well, that's good to know. I'm sure you might even throw in a few herbs in there, too.
I'm sure.
Yeah. Now, we mentioned the plant sale, which of course is very important. We want people to go there and check it out, and that's the 18th and the 19th of this month. But one of the other things you really didn't mention, which I think is important, is if you go there and walk through your arboretum area, and
Yep.
everything is labeled.
Yep, we have over 300 acres now, over 10 miles of hiking trails, thousands of labeled plants from that are both native and also from different parts of the world. And we have a native plant trail which virtually has literally has every native plant that's a woody plant that would live in our zone, and even a bunch that wouldn't live in our zones. We like to say is, you leave more with a site visit to Landis than, most people get more out of a site visit than they came, originally thinking they were going to get. And a lot of that is from informal education. You go through, you see a sign, you read it, then you see a tree, you see an example of that. We're not just trees, we have incredible
No, they have
birding
shrubs
site
and
too.
things
Yeah,
too,
and
yeah.
birds too, incredible birding site. And this year we've been doing a lot with bluebirds. We have a new volunteer. His name is Shane. He revamped the bird trail, and now we've seen.
Wait, you have a bird trail?
We do. We're part of a New York State birding trail, actually.
So
as
what
well.
is a bird trail? I mean, do
It's,
the birds know it's there, or what?
Well, they're there whether they, have people coming to see them or not. Because
Okay.
if you put a lot of different diversity of plants into a site, you attract
what-
a
what
lot of
they're gonna
insects.
eat, yeah,
and
it's okay.
So you get the whole gamut of all the biodiversity that comes with it. And if you have a lot of insects, which we certainly do, we don't really do any real spraying at the Arboretum. So even the plants that are in the greenhouse have all the petunia baskets, no fungicides, no pesticides, just sun,
Well, it's
water,
natural.
and fertilizer. Yeah, all
natural.
naturally grown. And if you keep plants healthy, it's like humans. If you can keep a plant healthy, you bolster its natural defenses.
Exactly.
And even though bad things are around, doesn't mean you just get it. And it's the same for us. If we can keep ourselves healthy, we don't catch every little cold and every little germ or every little illness. But if you
Exactly.
run yourself down and you're in an unhealthy state, you're more prone to getting problems. And we sort of emphasize plant health care. So we grow all these plants without any sprays.
Without spraying?
Yep, I've
Okay.
never had a
Do you
problem.
have any areas where you discuss medicinal plants?
We have in the past. We've done some workshops where we do medicinal and also edibles.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything listed this coming calendar year for that in terms of classes,
Yeah.
but our entire website lists our calendar for the year, and that's landisarboretum.org. I like to say it's probably our best marketing tool for Landis. It's,
Oh, yeah. I mean,
and the Arboretum's free. There's no charge, to come to a visit Landis Arboretum. I like to say
How do we
we pay the bills?
How do you pay the bills?
Yeah, fundraising.
Okay.
The plant sale is one of our biggest It is our biggest fundraiser of the year. So that's a huge piece of the pie in terms of our annual operating budget. But we also do a lot of grant writing. We get a lot of grants.
You're a nonprofit.
We are a 501c3 not-for-profit. Yep, you got it. And we also get a lot of donations. Members. We are a membership organization.
membership.
Memberships
Okay,
help
good.
really keep us
Yeah.
growing. A basic individual starts at $35, and I like to say, your money. You'll see your money get put to work because every year, every time you come to Arboretum, you're going to see something new. A handful of years ago, we put in a new meditation garden with a waterfall and a labyrinth.
Yeah, I was looking for that picture because
yeah,
that was such a cool picture.
Really
yeah.
cool. And now this year, we're actually, we got some grants that are going to pay for renovating the old historic farmhouse. We're putting a new roof on. We're putting solar panels on this year.
Solar panels.
Yeah,
well, you really are getting into.
And we're putting up a brand new big pavilion with a new pond up on the hill that people are going to be able to use and,
Didn't
and
you
stuff
have
too.
a place where you could have a wedding?
We do, the meeting house at the Arboretum, which has been completely rehabbed. It's in great shape, all new siding, all new bathroom facilities, and that's all available to rent. You can go online and get info on that, but we rent it out for weddings, we rent it out for corporate retreats, birthday parties, baby showers, and also been pretty popular with memorials too.
Oh, that's a good
celebrations
idea,
of
yeah.
life and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that's been really popular, and now we're going to have the huge pavilion, which is right next to the meeting house. In that we call it the meeting house complex. The pavilion will actually be incorporated, if you want it, into the rental as well. So now you can have even more people. And the view from the meeting house, if you haven't seen it, is
It's
just
beautiful,
it's $1
yeah.
million view, and
Yeah.
with the new infrastructure, I like to say it's a $2 million view now.
Yeah, exactly. Now, we've talked about it, but where is it?
We're in we're in Esperance. We're located at 174 Lape Road, Esperance, New York.
And how do they get to Esperance?
About a half an hour from here.
From the capital region.
So you're heading west. If you think of west on 88,
Yep.
and you get off at Duanesburg if you're coming from the capital region. Like I said, it took me 30 minutes to get here from the Arboretum this morning. So
Yeah.
it's
I'm
only
glad you
30
got
minutes
here,
away.
too, yeah.
Yeah, we're sort of in the middle of nowhere, but we're really not too far away from everything.
I always find it just delightful to be there and to walk through the grounds and to look at the different plants. And I know I was there one time and go, oh, that's what that is. I
Exactly.
have one of those and I didn't know what it was called.
Yeah, and that's, our mission is to foster the appreciation of plants and trees and their importance in the environment. And, that's, you can feel really good about going to work every day with that kind of a mission statement. And we're doing it. We're accomplishing it.
Well, you're doing
the
a great
membership's
job.
growing and more people are visiting. And like I say, donations are always appreciated, but we are free to the public. We're one of the last free
Vestiges,
things.
right?
No hidden, no fine lines, no little small print.
But they could buy a plant.
But you can buy a plant, you can be a member, you can help keep us growing, but
Exactly.
There's donation boxes there too, so sometimes people just say, hey, I don't really want to be a member, but I'd like to support you. They'll drop $5 in a donation can.
You're doing a great job, Fred. You really are, and it's always amazing when I go there. And I try and get there this year as well to check it out. Because
Great.
It's just great.
Yep.
The plants are wonderful.
And I'd love to give you a VIP tour sometime
Absolutely,
too.
we're
And
gonna
we have
do it.
golf carts too that we can do
That's
partial
okay.
drives
I'll
and
do it.
partial
My
walks.
back will be better. I was mowing yesterday.
All right,
so-
there you go.
Good.
Cool.
Thanks so much, Fred. It's always a pleasure to see you.
Yeah,
Maybe-
my
Maybe in
pleasure.
the fall for your plant sale.
I'd like to be back then.
Good.
Yep, thanks a lot, and come visit us, landisarboretum.org.
You got it. Okay, and right now we're going to go over to Albany. We're talking about Cap Rep. I have to tell you, I went to see Three Mothers, and it's almost over. It's going to end up, the 12th or 13th, something like that.
12th, yep.
It's a powerful play, and the actors are amazing.
I would agree.
And they're on the stage for, an hour and a half to 2 hours almost.
It's a 90-minute,
Yeah,
yeah.
90 minutes, and they got all their lines learned, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, how did they do that? But they're wonderful.
They are quite incredible. The whole story, Three Mothers, written by Janie D. Washington. It's a world premiere. One of the world premieres that has come through our Next Act New Play Summit at Capitol Rep, which is our commitment to new development.
Right, right.
You can't find the next great American theater playwright if you're not willing to develop new work.
Exactly.
So Capitol Rep takes that very seriously. And Three Mothers and Ajane himself, we've known Ajane for a number of years. He actually worked in our summer education program where he worked as the main playwright who helped the kids write a piece to perform for the summer.
Yeah.
So we've known him for quite some time. And for those who know about the Next Act New Play Summit and for those who don't, when a submission comes in, all of our readers who evaluate it evaluate it without any playwright information attached. So we call it
They
blind.
just read the play, just like
Yep,
the
blind reading.
producers, they're just reading those plays.
Yep, so that the script, the material itself can be evaluated, and no one can put any, oh, well, I really love that person, so
Yeah.
I'm going to rate it higher than
Yeah, yeah.
maybe they would if it was just on the text alone.
It's important to just remove that one,
Yeah, but when we found out that Three Mothers was written by a J&A, Maggie and I were both really thrilled because we knew him a little bit. We were super excited to have him come back. And it was the piece from the 2022 summit that then went on to obviously get a world
went right to
premiere
the
at.
top, right?
Yep, it went right to the top of all of the reading committees. And Maggie and I believe in the script and the playwright. So together over the course of 2 years, since it won the summit in 2022, we've been working with the JNA on the development of the script. He's made great strides with it, big changes. But something that a lot of folks don't necessarily understand about New Works is when you receive a world premiere production, it doesn't mean the script is finalized, completely
you can
finished,
still
and done.
play with it, yeah.
Right, so he's going to take whatever he's learned from this initial production and further develop it and hopefully get a number of more productions all around the country, hopefully.
Well, the story, if you're not familiar with it, Three Mothers, it's about the three mothers of Cheney, Goodman, and Schwimmer.
Yeah, the three
boys that were killed. Murdered,
yes,
murdered.
the three sons who were murdered by the KKK
And the mothers
in
come together.
1964.
This is fictionalized, of course.
So yes, it's historical fiction. So all of the characters that are discussed and the three women who are present are all real people from history. The boys were really murdered and
horribly
found,
murdered, yeah.
yep, horribly murdered and found 40 some odd days later, I
44
believe.
days, I think, later.
Yeah. And so all of that information is 100% true, and these women that the actors are embodying, all real women. But the story is an imagined story
Of them meeting in New York.
of what they might have said with one another post the third memorial service, the third burial of Andrew Goodman. It takes place in Carolyn Goodman's Upper West Side apartment in a study in her apartment. And the three women all have, well, everyone deals with grief differently, right? And
Exactly.
it's cyclical, and you never know what's going to come up in one moment. And this is moments shortly after the boys had been found and the burials had taken place. So everyone is still really
Reeling from it,
raw.
yeah.
But at the same time, at a funeral service or a memorial service, you're trying to put on a good front and be there in support of who
And
you're.
you can feel that in the play. You can really feel that the one of the mothers that is trying to get her to move or don't stay there. It's awful what's going on. Takes place in 1964 during
Yep.
the Civil Rights, the Freedom Summer,
Mm-hmm.
that happened, which is really was a tragic. I mean, these kids were just there trying to help people get to vote. I mean, it wasn't they
Yeah.
were there to raise any issues or do any damage. They were just, and it was orchestrated by the police and the Ku Klux Klan to
Correct.
get them murdered. Yeah.
Yep.
They, delayed them so that they could get together to just get them off the road and murder them.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't want to give too many spoilers away, but a little bit more information about how everything went down in the South when the KKK decided to take these boys out and how they did it comes to light through the story. The other things that come to light are what all of the three mothers start to reel with. Why their sons, why now, what can benefit from such a horrible situation, and what ultimately did happen in real life, and what hopefully the audience feels, the sense of hope that these three women are going to take up the mantle of what their sons died for.
No spoiler, but the ending is wonderful.
It is pretty powerful.
Yeah, it's very powerful. And it's something that we should, it could happen again, so we need to.
Yeah, it is sadly very relevant information. Voter suppression, not allowing folks to register, trying to dissuade people from registering and having their voice heard, and every voice matters, and everybody
Exactly,
should be
yeah.
able to register what they think who would be best for whatever office is being voted on, and
Get out
very
there and
timely.
vote. Yeah. Okay, so we're talking also about the Next Act Summit.
Yes.
Now, you said, I know that the Theater Troupe is doing it too, aren't they? Aren't they doing
Well,
it
Black
with
Theater Troupe is part of our,
Yeah,
they
I
are
know,
a
that's what I'm
resident.
saying, but aren't they doing a Next Act Summit?
They're not doing a Next Act Summit. They are doing some new works, but
Oh,
that's
okay.
not related
Okay,
to
all right.
our
I just-
Next
okay,
Act.
it was
No.
my error then.
Yeah, no. We love Black Theater Troupe. They
Yeah.
are a resident community
Remy is
company
so
in our.
wonderful, yeah.
Oh, he's so great. Always smiling. I love that.
I know.
They are a resident in our building, but they produce their own works, and he is doing something that deals with new work.
Yeah, that's what I
which
thought.
is kind of awesome because we're not the only theater in the Capital Region. Troy Foundry also does a lot of new work. But our Next Act New Play Summit has been going on for 13 years. We just finished our 13th summit. The 2024 one will be next year, and we'll sort of wrap around our world premiere that was found in our 2023 summit. Rosie is Red and Everybody is Blue by John Spellos.
Yeah, I saw that, yeah.
He happens to be a
gonna be-
Capital
you're
Region.
producing that for the
yeah,
next
we're-
season, yeah.
next season's world premiere. And our New Play Summit it's actually a year-long process. The new development part of Capital Rep takes place all year long. The summit itself is focused on one long weekend, or this year we actually spanned it across a full week that leads up to the world premiere, so that we're trying to tie all of our new play development together. The summit consists of readings of full scripts that rise to the top, like Three Mothers did, like Rosie did. The one we read this year was called All the Emilys and All the Universes by Ian August. It was really fun. We also have a variety of other events that bring in young playwrights, both in our Young Playwright Contest with the Collaborative School of the Arts, as well as a Next Gen. So Young Playwrights is for kids 13 to 19, Capital Region. Next Gen is for students who are taking that next step, potentially either just out of or maybe studying playwriting in college. We had a student from Temple University get his play read this year. And then there's a variety of other events that happen every year, like our First 15, where the audience gets to be or feel what it's like to be a literary manager or one of our reading committee members. Hear the beginning of a play, hear just the synopsis materials, and weigh in on, would you have requested the full script?
Yeah.
If you got just a synopsis, character breakdown in 10 pages, did the story hook you? Would you want to know more?
Yeah. Now, how do they go about submitting? Suppose I'm not going to write a play. But
You never know.
Suppose I wrote a play. Do I just send it to CapRep and say, here you go?
No, actually, we have a submission process, so all of our information can be found on our website under a tab at the top called Next Act. So if you go to atherep.org and then click on the Next Act tab, you'll find all of the information. Our submission process is about a month long, once a year.
Okay.
And the submission process will probably be the month of October. We're still following up and making sure that all of the deadlines from this past year matched, because we moved from the summer into the spring. So most likely it will be the month of October, but all of that information gets posted in a bunch of different places. If you're on the Capital District audition list that a lot of folks subscribe to, the information will go there. It'll be on our website. And then during that portion, there's an email, nextact@capitalrep.org, and you just send your stuff off to that.
So this could be somebody from California, right?
Yep.
Could be anywhere in the United States.
Yep.
Or
And we've
outside the
actually
United States.
we've actually had some international submissions in past as well. Yeah.
Yeah. And again, when they read them, they don't know.
We have no idea who you are or where you're from.
No. So if Huxley was alive and submitted, you wouldn't even know it, right?
It's true. Well, I would actually know, because I tabulate all the information, but I don't let anyone
You
else
don't
know.
let anybody else know. Well, I don't think the Bard is going to be submitting anything. this
Probably
year.
not.
Good. I like what you do, and again, I love your new space.
Oh, we do too.
The new space doesn't have any columns in front of you,
Yes, it's true.
and so it's really a lot nicer to see the entire staging. The
Yeah.
staging is amazing. I don't know who does the staging or does the set, but oh my gosh, when I looked at that set for Three Mothers, it was like, oh, I want
Yeah.
to live there.
His name is Baron Pugh. This is the second set he's designed for us. The first one was for one of our touring shows, but we use all professionals across the stage and
It's
all the
amazing.
different facets of what we do. So yeah,
So get your season tickets. If
Yes,
you haven't
please.
got them yet, get your season tickets to CapRep. There's plenty of street parking, and you'd even
we have a parking lot. Yeah, just past our building.
Exactly. So go see it and get out there and do this. Theater is so good. And this is an equity theater, so everybody's getting paid and is supporting the arts in every way possible.
And new play development, which is what Three Mothers and Next Act is all about.
Yeah, I loved
Thank you.
Yeah, it was wonderful. Thank you so much, Margaret.
Thanks
It's
for
been a
having me.
pleasure to seeing you. We'll do it again.
Yeah.
Good. And now we're going to be talking about something that is probably near and dear to a lot of people's hearts, and that's Alzheimer's disease. And you're with Albany Medical Center.
Yes.
And you do the, I think you go the excellence in
Yes. So in
Center for Excellence in Alzheimer's.
yes, so we're one of 10 centers of excellence in the state of New York. So
Okay.
we receive funding from the New York State Health Department. And essentially our goal is to diagnose people with any type of memory trouble or any symptoms of dementia, give them that accurate diagnosis, and then follow them throughout their disease, help with symptom management, help with the social questions, the family questions.
I was going to say it's the caregivers too that need a lot of
Yes,
support.
so that's a lot. That's why it's wonderful that we're able to support a role like mine for social work, because a lot of times it's the grief that comes along with this disease. And
Well, and the loss of the person's and it's gradual. You know, they don't know who you are. Sometimes they don't even know their own name. You know,
Yeah.
it's like, and it just breaks your heart because these are people that raised you and took care of all your problems, and now.
I think a big part of what we see is, and a big question that I get when someone receives a diagnosis is, well, what's the next step? When is it going to progress? When is this going to happen?
But
You
we
know,
don't know.
and we don't know. And so really just kind of walking families through that and connecting them with resources in the area that could be helpful, and just kind of being an ear to listen is really important. And like I said, we can treat the symptoms, you know, through medications. And so we do our best.
You can't stop it, but you can kind of slow it down.
You can't stop it, that is true. But there are symptoms like anxiety and paranoia
Treat
that
those,
can
yeah.
be, you know, treatable. And so we do our best to
And they get
help.
combative sometimes because they're struggling with what they can't remember anyway, and then they
Yeah.
don't know who you are, even though,
Yeah.
you know, you've been with them all your life.
You know, I always say to people, and it's so much easier said than done, and it's so easy to say it from the outside when you're not in that family and in
Right.
that situation. But, you know, think of if you couldn't remember something or couldn't process something, you know, the anger and the frustration that you may feel.
It's the frustration. that
That's what
it
your
isn't
loved one
coming
is
to you.
feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just read recently, I think it was yesterday, that they're now connecting it to genetics.
There is a genetic.
There's a gene that apparently it doesn't cause it, but it kind of is.
Right. So you could carry that
Carry the
gene,
gene.
but not necessarily develop the disease. Really, the biggest risk factors for developing Alzheimer's disease or any other type of dementia is alcohol, age, lifestyle, you know, how we take care
They
of
contribute
ourselves.
to it then.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, making sure that we are prioritizing our brain health through exercise, through diet, through lifestyle is really the most important way to slow down progression and try to prevent from developing this disease.
We hear that you know, playing games helps, and to read and to try new activities that you've never done before. Do you find that helps at all?
I do find that it helps because it's getting your mind moving. You know, you're getting up and you're looking
changing
forward
the
to
channels in your
something.
brain, yeah.
Yeah, you know, or you're participating in an activity, you're engaging with someone else in conversation. That's what's really, really helpful.
Yeah.
You know, so even for folks that are currently going through the disease, you know, engaging with other people, like at an adult day program, or having family come visit and just talk to them, that helps so much, that stimulation.
And isolation is probably the worst thing that can happen to someone.
It is the worst thing, which is why something like COVID-19, I think really hurt a lot of
It
people.
hurt a lot of people, yeah.
But what I always tell people is, you know, you want to meet your loved one where they're at.
Yeah.
Right? We know what's good. You got to get out and go for a walk and be around people. But if your loved one just isn't there, you know, pushing them might make it worse. And
Yeah,
so
and they say don't, and I could be wrong, but I heard that don't argue with them. You know, don't try and bring them back, and you know, kind of go with the flow because this is where they're at.
yeah. So how I always explain it to people is, when your loved one has this diagnosis, you're now living in two realities. You're living in our reality and you're living in theirs.
Yeah.
So whatever they say to you, that is very real to them in that
Exactly,
moment.
yeah.
And you know, if I made a comment to you and you fought me on it, you know, the natural human instinct is to get defensive.
Upset, yeah.
And there is no moment where you're going to break through and that person's going to acknowledge that that's not true, and so you kind of almost have to pick and choose your battles,
Yeah,
as
because
long
they
as they're
think there's
safe.
somewhere else. I had a friend who developed Alzheimer's, and he was a principal of a high school. And I talked to his wife. She says, "Yep, he's in high school, and he's just reprimanding everybody for not doing their job or being in their class
Yeah.
when they should be." So he actually went right back into
Yeah.
what he had done all his life, and
It's the brain is a crazy thing, and
Yeah.
memory and someone's emotions is all impacted. But what I say is that if your loved one is safe, then sure, he's back in high school, and you're going to help him reprimand those kids.
those
you know,
kids, well, that's what she
Yeah.
did. You know, they just went, and the staff went along with
Yeah.
it. You know,
It's
they
just
went
not
into
worth-
to,
yeah.
you know, they had to stay after school sometimes.
had some interesting experiences with that. You know.
Okay, so we know where you are at Albany Med, but tell me, could I walk in and say, "Hey, could you evaluate me," or should I be recommended by my primary?
So we only take referrals,
Okay,
and
that's what I was
so a
wondering.
primary would have to, or a provider would have to send a referral to our clinic, and then depending on what kind of provider you're looking for, we have neurologists on staff, we have a nurse practitioner, we have a geriatrician, and so everyone does the same work, but offers a really unique perspective to the diagnosis and to helping the family. And so once that referral's in, we schedule. And we typically, after we see someone and they're provided with a diagnosis, we'll order brain imaging, confirm it, and then continue to follow people.
And you work with the families as well.
Yes, so my colleague and I, we try to touch base with every family. What can we do to help? What resources you need? Because a lot of time, there's a lot available in the Capital Region in terms of support, but if you're not exposed to this disease, how would you know that they're there? And so people kind of just need that guiding hand. And a lot of times when you're in that appointment and someone gives a diagnosis, I mean, the family, the person, your head is spinning, you know,
Yeah,
you don't
first
know.
You're going, "Oh my gosh, I work full time. What am I going to do if she's
Right.
alone and she tries to make something and forgets
Exactly.
the stove is on?" And I mean,
All
you're
of
thinking
it.
all those things are going, or what if she starts wandering? You hear about people leaving the house and wandering.
It's a risk, it is. And so ideally, right, the earlier someone comes in for a diagnosis, the more we can talk with the family and prepare them for the future, because a crisis is inevitable, but it's how you prepare and the support that you have lined up that can help through those moments. And so that's what we do.
Do you find that most people in a situation like this end up in memory care?
It depends. A lot do, because it's a wonderful resource that's available. Memory care, assisted livings, and skilled
safe.
nursing.
It's safe.
It's safe. They're typically locked units, and the staff is trained on the disease. But there is a way to age at home and stay at home through, care, home care, family being available to help.
right.
And so it really is different for every family. And so what I really try to do is walk people through the options. What is best? What is the safest? What makes the most sense for the whole family unit?
Right. Well, I was thinking about that. If you're working and you have, what do you do? It's kind of, do you quit your job now and you stay home? It's like,
Yeah.
then how do I pay my bills? There's a lot of things, like you said, your head starts spinning.
Right.
The minute you hear that diagnosis, you're thinking of the worst possible situation all the way down the line.
I know, and what I try to do is I come in and, I'm like, here's my card. Call me when you have some time to think and process. And we'll do family meetings where we all sit down and go over the disease and what does it look like, what's available, who do I want you to get in touch with now sooner rather than later. So I think that's a really big part of it.
You get a lot of input from the patient that has Alzheimer's at that point. I mean, because they certainly haven't gone over the edge, so to speak. I don't mean that's kind of an odd thing to say.
No, I
But they're
understand.
still cognizant, and they're just a little forgetful,
Yeah, so my biggest piece of advice is, and what I try to do every day, and I'm not perfect, but I do my best, always talk to the patient.
Mm-hmm.
So if they come in for an appointment, I want to get the full story of how it's been going. Well, can I ask your daughter, can I ask your husband how
Yeah.
you've been doing? Engaging them in the conversation.
yeah.
Sometimes when we have family meetings, I do advise not to bring the patient because it can be difficult to talk about the reality.
I'm here. I'm sitting here. Don't talk about me.
Yeah, you know, and I don't want to make someone upset because someone with this disease, it's harder to come down from, you know, getting worked up. And so, you know, we can have conversations separately, we can have them together. There's different ways to work around it. And so that's really what we try to help families realize and the support that we try to provide.
Yeah, I recently saw the movie The Father
Yeah.
with Anthony Hopkins, and it's probably a good movie to see how it progressed and how he got confused as to who people were. I mean, it's a difficult movie to watch because sometimes you can't figure out what's going on because he sees things so differently every time.
It's the, you know,
The
it's the
movie is
reality.
through his eyes.
Yes, so it's the reality of it, and you know, it never gets easier seeing it day in and day out, but these families, these patients, knowing that they have our support, I think makes a really big difference. Knowing that we can say, you know, reach out to this service, I can give you a warm handoff. It makes a really big difference.
Okay, so if you know of anybody who is experiencing a change in their lives, I'll put out a change in their lives, you know, you might want to check with your primary and find out if maybe coming to the Center for Excellence would be the place to go. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you so much for being
Thanks,
here.
Ann.
Yeah, it's always a pleasure to talk to you. I've heard her before, and she's just so knowledgeable. It's like, oh my gosh. So thank you
Thanks,
so
Ann.
much. We're going to be talking about spina bifida now. Glad to see you both here. And I know you've been here before, Kathleen.
Yes. Thank
And
you for having me back.
You have a grandson?
A granddaughter.
Granddaughter. Okay, I have a grandson.
Yeah.
That has
That's
spina
fine.
bifida.
Yes.
So I understand what you're.
So we can relate as grandparents.
Yeah, we can relate. Yeah.
Yes.
So tell me, Kathleen, how are you doing? You're getting ready for this big rock and roll. No, I want
Our
to say
walk and roll.
Well, they could rock and roll too.
They're rocking and rolling for sure. Yes. So we have our walk and roll, which is one of our larger annual fundraisers, and it's happening May 19th at Central Park in Schenectady. And we are so excited. We have over 200 individuals and families signed up
and
so
you got
far.
teams because we
Yes.
have pictures there of the teams,
Yes,
which I
we
thought
have
was really
teams.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah, so we have all of our individuals and families coming together to support and celebrate the spina bifida community.
Right.
And, you know, it's just family friendly, fun, live music, picnic style. We have a lot of different food trucks coming, face painting. So, yeah.
So when we talk about spina bifida, let's for someone who's watching and saying, "What the heck is spina bifida? I've never heard of that."
Yeah.
Spina bifida is something you are born with.
Yes.
It has to do with folic acid. Apparently, a lot of maybe not generally, but they're connecting it with the lack of folic acid.
Sometimes, yes. So spina bifida is a neural tube birth defect, and that happens when the spinal column does not close or form properly in utero. And so some people, there is no cause for spina bifida,
No.
and there's also no cure. However, researchers do say women of childbearing age, they do recommend to take about 400 micrograms of folic acid. Daily, yes. And that can help prevent it, but again, there really is no prevention.
We don't
Yeah.
exactly know.
Yeah,
So,
yep. So, and it happens in your multivitamins. If you take your hair, nail, and skin vitamins from CVS or something, it's already in there.
Yeah, and you can look, it's 400 micrograms.
Yep.
So you have a grandson.
Granddaughter.
Granddaughter,
yes.
I'm sorry, granddaughter.
Okay.
Were you aware of this before the
I had-
birth, or did you find out after?
My daughter found out when she was about 22 weeks pregnant. And of course, it comes as a shock. We had all heard of spina bifida, but we weren't exactly sure what the implications were. And she connected to a fetal maternal medicine specialist and knew that there was an option of fetal surgery. So they connected her with Children's Hospital of
They
Philadelphia.
close up the spine then, is that what?
Yes, but they do it in utero.
Yeah, I know.
So when Abby was, that's my daughter, was 24 weeks pregnant with my granddaughter Marley, she had surgery so that the doctor could close up that spine, the nerves in the spinal cord, and then close the muscle and do a repair. It doesn't cure spina bifida, but it does mitigate some of the results.
Okay, and then does everyone that has spina bifida end up in a wheelchair, or?
No.
I think that's important.
Yes,
That's
my
why we have a
granddaughter.
walk
My
anyway.
granddaughter
Yes.
walks. She's been mobile since she was born. Was able to crawl.
is she
She
now?
walks. She's almost 6.
Okay.
She does have weakness and a little bit less sensation. She may start wearing a brace on her one leg, but she's able to get around.
So she's not
and
using forearm crutches or anything?
She's not using
No.
crutches or anything, no.
That's
I mean, that may
wonderful,
change
because
in the
but that
future, but
surgery is what really,
yes, the surgery does mitigate. She still does have implications and from spina bifida because there's no cure.
There's so many
Yeah,
things.
a lot
that-
of secondary
yes.
conditions.
Yeah, I mean, whether it's your bladder, your kidneys, it's,
Yes, she has
everything.
those
your,
issues,
Your
but-
cognitive concentration.
Yeah, some
Yes.
executive dysfunction, different
Yes.
mobility limitations.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's pretty difficult. So you're going to, is your granddaughter going to be joining you in this?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, so she's local. I didn't know she was
Yes,
local.
she's local, and we did our first walk and roll when she was just a baby. We decided, my daughter did some research and wanted to connect with families that
Yeah,
were
it's
in this
important
similar
to work with
situation.
people that are in the
Extremely
same boat,
important.
so to
Yes.
speak.
And the Spina Bifida Association of New York State
Yeah.
has been a godsend for
Yeah.
her, and we all volunteer. We have a team called Miracle Marley,
Oh,
and we have shirts made. There's a lot of spirit, a lot of camaraderie,
Wonderful.
a lot of
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
fun. So, yeah, we do it every year.
Exactly, yeah. Well, my grandson is in his 30s, so it's, it's a lifelong thing that you have to deal with.
It
Yeah.
is, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so what do you do with this money?
So what we do with this money,
I mean, I assume you're going to raise some money.
Yes, yep. So our goal for this year is to raise $45,000. We are about
With
halfway
just
there.
the rock and
Just the walk and roll,
walk.
yep.
Oh my God, I'm going to do the rock.
Yes, so we're trying to raise $45,000 with just the walk and roll. We're about halfway there. And all proceeds go back straight into programming and services for our individuals, whether that's case management and counseling, supporting them with different regional programs, making sure that they feel seen and heard. As we are a New York State organization, we want to be sure that we are spread across New York State and that everybody is feeling the love and support that we provide.
Well, and they have to have job counseling. I mean,
Yeah.
to make sure that the job fits what their, abilities are.
Exactly,
yeah.
and that's some of what we do. We also help with insurance navigation, systems
Oh, that's a
navigation,
nightmare
finding
sometimes.
transportation and accessible housing. It's been a lot for our community, and so our role is to really lighten that load for them.
So
yeah.
you're an advocate for the ones that are, trying to get a job, you're trying to find a place to live, can they driving? I mean,
Yeah.
my grandson has a car, he uses his
Wonderful.
hands.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd like to consider us an advocate, an ally, and also, really just spreading that awareness and education about what spina bifida is, the secondary conditions that can further affect their diagnosis and their way of living. And again, we just really want to lighten that load for them. And our walk and roll is truly for our consumers, for them to come out, have an amazing day, and really just feel all the love and support that we can provide them with.
Okay, so you're located here, but
Yes.
you're statewide.
We are, yes.
So do you have other walk and rolls?
We
Did it
do.
right?
Yes, you did.
getting
So
it.
we have another walk and roll in Long Island, and that is going to be May 18th, the day before.
Okay.
So we'll be
Are you
down
doing
there.
both?
Oh yes. Oh yes. So we'll be down there for that one, and then we'll scurry back up for our one in Central Park in Schenectady. We also have, we are in the midst of planning a Mid-Hudson walk and roll for this September/October, and we also have a walk and roll-ish event coming in Syracuse this summer.
I was going to say, you need something out in the
Yes.
western part
Oh,
of
we're
the
getting
city.
there. Yes. So we're really excited. We're partnering with a bunch of amazing agencies to put on this event.
So you're trying to raise $45,000 for this one. Now, how much
Yes.
for the other? I mean, are they all looking at trying to raise that kind of money?
So each is a little bit different. With our Long Island and our Schenectady walk and rolls, we are trying to raise that money together as one.
Okay.
With our event happening in Syracuse, that's a little bit different because we have a lot of other sponsors and donors who are participating. And we're doing a Trade on the Trails event actually, so a 1 mile challenge there.
Okay.
So it's a
Well,
little
it's
bit
a
of an
start. It's a start.
adaptation. Yes, and so we're gonna be trying to raise about $10,000 with that one, and then our Mid-Hudson will be different. We all have different goals, so yeah.
Right now, I know that you're involved, so
Yes.
you're a volunteer. What are you volunteering to do?
Well, for the walk and roll specifically, we're setup and cleanup crew. So
Somebody's gotta do
yeah,
it,
somebody's
okay?
got to do it. My husband borrows a big van, and we go early in the morning and
Set
load
up.
all the supplies in, bring it to
And you
the
have food trucks coming in too?
Yes.
But you don't have to do those.
Oh no, we don't do those. But we do have other food donations. We have usually fruit and some
Yeah.
bagels
Stewart's
and
ice
drinks.
cream.
Yeah, Stewart's
Yes.
ice cream. So we help set that out and serve that and that kind of thing. But it's just a fun event, and every year we look forward to
And
it.
it's an acknowledgement of
It
of what's
is.
going on and how you need to raise money to help.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's the idea that the families can come together and say, oh yeah, I know exactly I know exactly what happened.
Yes.
Yet Same thing happened to my, son or something. And so how did you handle it? Kind of that kind of.
It's really about just building those community connections because, again, the spina bifida community is already so small, and this is a rare birth defect. So then everyone just coming together and being able to support one another and having these kids meet one another who are going through the same exact things. It's a
Exactly,
beautiful,
yeah.
beautiful event.
Now you say it's rare. How many, I know you don't know the number offhand, but would you say there's like 1,000 a year, or tell me what
So-
your statistics are.
Researchers estimate that there is about 4,000 individuals just living in New York State with spina bifida.
Oh, living now.
Yes, and then there is about 200,000 nationwide.
That's a lot.
It is a lot, yeah, but also again,
I mean,
it's
minimal
a small
when you look
community.
at how much the population is, but still,
Yeah.
if you're one of them, that's a lot.
Yeah.
That's the way I look at it.
Yes,
you know,
right.
I'm 100%. you
Yeah.
know, so, well, I hope that you have a really good turnout. Your day is
Thank
going to
you.
be beautiful, and you can
Yes.
get out there and bring that community together so that everybody's feeling the love and the joy among you.
It's
So-
Thank you so
wonderful, yeah.
much.
And good luck with your granddaughter.
Thank you
Yeah,
so
she'll
much.
be fine.
Yeah.
She'll be okay.
She's got a lot of spirit.
Yeah.
She does.
Thank you so much for being here today, too.
Thank
you.
you.
We're going to switch over and we're going to be talking about what is it now? An oratorio? What is an oratorio? Come on, tell me what an oratorio is.
An oratorio is a choral work. That means
Okay.
it's for a chorus, and you have your sopranos, altos, tenors, and basses, and it can have any kind of subject matter a composer can come up with. My oratorio is the Amsterdam Oratorio. It's a choral work of 90 minutes, comprised of 16 songs, each one about a different facet of my hometown of Amsterdam, New York.
Well, I did read the lyrics, and I found that it was, and I listened to the music, of course, the music is lovely, but you get it from the immigrants, then right on to things like what happened to the mall and stuff like that. I mean, you got it all in there.
Well, I'll tell you, the oratorio, I wrote this in 2000. So this is not a new work.
2000?
Yes, but there's
That's like a while back.
that's a long time ago. Let's not count the years just
no,
now.
that's okay. I'm just checking.
But so I was sort of at a crossroads in my life, and I was newly divorced and living on my own, and my youngest son had just gone off to college, and I had a sense, a feeling that I'd like to give something back to my community and also sort of reclaim myself a bit. And I had a moment, doesn't often happen in my life as a composer, that I got a sudden inspiration for writing this work.
This is not the first one you've written.
Oh, no.
I mean, just so everybody knows, this isn't her first.
No, I've been at it a long time.
Yeah.
But this is one that occupies a special place in my heart because the moment that I got the idea and from the time I began to write it to its fruition, everything fell so beautifully into place. So I got the idea that I would like to form a chorus and sing about Amsterdam, and I knew I was calling it in my mind immediately, the Amsterdam Oratorio.
Okay.
And Congressman Tonko loves to say, as far as we know, there are only 2 cities in the world that have had oratorios composed about them. One is the Liverpool Oratorio by Sir Paul McCartney, and the other one
You're right
is
up
the
there.
Amsterdam Oratorio by Maria Riccio Price.
Oh, that's wonderful.
So anyway, it's what I did was I wrote a song about different facets, and many of my friends suggested. A friend of mine visiting from London, who I'd taken to look around Amsterdam and show him the emptiness of our downtown, said, "Oh, darling, you must write about that." So hence the Amsterdam Mall. My sister Connie suggested, "You should write a song about nurses here in our community, because as small as Amsterdam is, they perform such a service.
Absolutely.
On duty, you never know what you're going to see, and the kindness." My friend John Allen, a known baritone here who sang in the oratorio, said,
Their
"How about-"
voices are amazing.
No, they are.
And you had children in there too.
Well,
which
the
was-
chorus, I formed a chorus, and they were comprised completely of Amsterdamians, 67. 14 of which were children. So I began writing in the autumn of 2000. And then I wrote through the spring and winter, the winter and spring of 2001. I formed the chorus of Amsterdamians, and we rehearsed the summer. And we were poised to premiere this in October 5th, 2001. Everything was going swimmingly, and on the morning of September 11th, 2001, I had my committee at the house. We met to make sure we were all
Must have
on
been
track.
8 in the morning, because that's about the time it hit.
Well, and all of a sudden, as everyone watching this has experienced, the word began to come to us.
Yeah.
What was going on.
You turned on the TV,
No,
because
it
you got to
was
follow.
right.
yeah.
And I remember all of us, of course, as you all, shock and awe. But inside I was thinking, the oratorio has to be canceled, because what I'd written was, in my mind at that moment, belonged to a completely different time and place. I felt immediately how our whole country's face was going to change. And my songs were about endurance and faith, community, belief. And I told my friends, my committee, I think we're going to have to hold off. I had the oratorio was scored for piano and synthesizer. And I was playing the piano, and the synthesizer player, your cameraman knows well, Malcolm does, it was Mark Broccoli. He had played with me for all of my shows, Mother I'm Here, Hearts of Fire. He was playing the synthesizer, and he's a man of great faith. And I told him, I think I'm going to cancel because, when I was writing the oratorio, I had no idea that this was going to happen. And he said, but God did. And his words inspired me to say, I believe that's true somehow, that in the tiniest redemptive way, that this work that I've been laboring with for the last year and I'm about to give birth to needs to go on. And
Right.
so 3 weeks later, there we all were on the stage of what's now called the Michael Lynch Auditorium, which was the old high school in Amsterdam, is now the middle school. But that theater, that auditorium, is a theater.
Mm-hmm.
It's a tiny old vaudeville house, and that's where I had been a student myself in high school when I first decided I was going to be a great actress. So it was all about coming home to this, and there was my chorus singing, and the auditorium was full, 800 people. And one of the proudest moments of my life is, as we all took our bows, the then Mayor John Duchesne, strode across the stage and handed me the key to the city of Amsterdam.
Wow. Well, what a tribute it is to the city of Amsterdam.
Well, it was, and I felt that it helped us all. But now that's years ago, and now I'm looking back at my legacy, and I'm realizing nobody can hear this anymore. We recorded it. My late brother-in-law, Ralph Sherry, was the preeminent sound engineer in the Capital District then. He was the owner of Cathedral Sound, and he generously donated his time and expertise to record the whole thing. So there were 67 singers men, women, and children in this
He
studio.
recorded it, yeah.
Yes, and then Kirk Douglas, Amsterdam
I
native,
saw that, yeah.
he paid for the manufacturing of the oratorio,
Yeah.
which at that time would have been beyond my means.
Mm-hmm.
So, so we had that. We had CDs in 2001, and now CDs and CD players, which
I
we
use
were,
a CD all the time. I don't know
well,
about
I thank
anybody
you.
else.
I do too, but I guess we're two of a dying breed.
Well,
You
if
can't hear it
if
anymore.
If you go to the library, books on tapes are on CDs.
Right,
And I
but-
listen to them, so yeah.
Well, I decided
They
to.
don't put them in cars, though. That's the
No, they
problem.
don't.
Yeah.
They don't. And I just got a new car, so I'm done with that.
Yeah,
Nothing. So,
yeah.
so I made
you're
the
actually
decision. I did. So
digitalizing
that's
it.
really what I'm here to talk about. So I did make the big step, and it's now just on May 2nd. It was released, so it's streaming everywhere. If anyone would like to hear it, I'd love you to. I want to stress that the songs, although specific to Amsterdam, have a running thread of a small town.
Absolutely.
Right, and so I think that I think your listeners would enjoy giving
And,
it a spin.
and listening to it, it's like our town kind of thing. You know, you
Right,
hear
right,
that. But the thing is that you do mention what happened in the malls and where we go. You know,
Right,
that kind
and
of
the
thing.
factories.
The factories, yeah. The rug factories.
Oh, and its heyday,
Mohawk
Amsterdam.
rugs. My
was-
parents would
yes,
go there and
surely.
Yeah, yeah. So things have changed a lot because it was a industrial town.
It was.
And was right on the river, kind
It
of.
was.
Yeah, and the train goes right by there.
Right.
So it's really, centrally located for doing manufacturing.
And all of those things are still true. There are no mills there, but there's a wealth of commitment and talent and a certain strength that, frankly, I'm proud to be a native daughter,
Okay.
belonging to that sort of strength. And I also want to say this too. I'm so thrilled. When I wrote it, I was right in the thrust of the middle of my life. And I wrote it as a gift to my fellow Amsterdamians. Now time has marched on. And I'm surprised to discover I have 3 sons. I never thought any one of them would return. I raised them in Amsterdam, but one of them has. And present, I now have a beautiful 3.5-year-old granddaughter.
How wonderful.
So when I think of the songs that I wrote and about the handing along, I'm beside myself with joy to feel that one day she will be hearing these as a resident.
Right.
So it makes me feel a legacy is lurking in here, and I can bow my head gratefully and say, I did my best.
Yeah, and I remember as a young girl, my dad, when he closed up the pharmacy for a couple hours on Sunday, we'd drive over to Amsterdam, and there'd be the pharmacy there. We'd always go into the pharmacy and talk to the pharmacist there. So
Right.
that was just kind of, my memories of Amsterdam. And of course, my folks talked about the rug mills,
Yes.
making the rugs. Do they still have Mohawk rugs? No.
Oh no, they left long ago.
I didn't know whether somebody else bought them out and called
no,
them that.
no.
There were a couple of rug companies, were there?
Mohawk Carpet Mills was the great big one, and I
Right.
think that was at one point, that was a 24-hour operation.
Really?
First shift, second shift, third shift, 8 hours, bing, bing, bing.
Yeah, I know. Well, it was like GE was running 3 shifts too.
Right.
Yeah. So anyway, I want to first of all thank you, but don't go anywhere because I want to tell everybody who's coming up on the next show, and then we'll pick up on
Sure.
this again. Next show we have Kids Art Festival. We're going to be talking. I guess Kids Art Fest, but it's really a fabulous event downtown, and it's free. Jazz on Jay again is a free event, and then we're talking about the Memorial Veterans Observance, and that's a free event. And then the National Veterans Creative Art. I mean, think about that. In Denver, Colorado, they're celebrating veterans that are creative. And then, of course, we have Schenectady Pride here to talk about their event too. The Kids Art Fest and the Schenectady Pride Festival is going to be on June 1st. I know that. So lots going on.
There always is, and you always speak about it so beautifully.
Oh, thank you, thank you. No, I love what we do, and I do want to wish, and especially since you're a mother, a happy Mother's Day that's
Thank
coming
you.
up, and I hope that you're doing something special for Mother's Day and to create some surprises for her, maybe. Who knows?
Let's hope so.
So your son is living in Amsterdam now, you said.
My middle son, Andrew,
middle
and his
son.
partner, Vanessa Stark, and my little granddaughter, Eloise.
Okay, good. And how's about your other 2 sons?
My elder son is is an engineer, and he lives in Seattle.
Okay.
And my youngest son, Peter, is an attorney in New York.
Okay. Well,
But
New
they all
York
sing.
isn't that far.
They all sing, and they're all. Especially my son Duncan is a fabulous pianist, but he chose.
Well, he got that from
Yes, I
Mom.
think he did, but I think he chose the more prudent way in terms of making a living. So, anyway.
Well, yeah, you know, you never know, how much you're going to make from something. But
You
So
don't.
the streaming, do they pay for it when they stream it down?
Oh no, I don't really have language to express exactly what this is, but it means you can hear it on Spotify and
Okay.
YouTube and Pandora
Okay.
and iTunes and so forth. No,
so
you
they
don't
just have
pay.
to subscribe to the.
They have
yeah.
to download an app, or they can see it on their computer or on their device or phone,
Okay,
whatever.
good. Yeah, but thank you. She gave me the CD, and that was fine. And I love the script too, so that was really cool because I was
Great.
reading it while I was doing that as well. Okay, well, first of all, thank you all for watching. I'm just so excited about what a great crew that I have that are all volunteers, including myself. We've been doing this now 26 years. We're in our 26th year, so stay with us because next show is going to be just as good, if not better. Who knows? Thanks for watching.